Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome yet again to Coffee with the Doctor at the Stink Bug Works, at the southern wing of the Stink Bug Works. I don't have much to report, but I do have some ideas I want to share with you. As you know, I announced a one in, one out policy starting this year. And I have a couple of empty halls here, and they don't really count in the one in, one out because they're already in. They just haven't been assembled. And I'm sure you remember this. I was fooling around with jet drives one day, and I thought the bottom shape of this would lend itself to a jet. But I have since changed my mind and moved on to other plans. And so now I have this nice Naviga boat. Naviga is, I guess, a European class or eco class, which used to stand for economy, but they spend money on these boats right and left. They're no longer economical. What I'm going to do with this thing is, now boys and girls, you're going to like this. You remember the Mini Dom and the 10-shock Scored. It ran off of this little motor. This little motor is a Viper 1515 16 turn. And that's the motor that's in the Mini Dom. And it goes like stink on 3S. So I'm going to put 3S in this boat and hope it goes like stink. It'll get a submerged drive shaft. Cool little submerged drive shaft. Submerged rudder. And away you go. These things are supposed to turn on a dime, give you 9 cents change. And I have a handful of submerged props I'll be testing. I went 2mm increments across the spectrum to see where heat goes. We'll see what heat looks like with this, and we'll adjust accordingly. So there's one of the projects. Now here's the whole point of this discussion. I do have a bit of a jonesing to build something new. You know, once this little guy is done, I just have a jonesing to build something new. You guys all know how that is. And I have a bunch of old stuff in my, in the corners in my closet, so to speak, in the upper reaches of my storage shelves. And maybe I should offer up some of my older stuff for trade to some of my loyal viewers. You know, I'll trade you this for that. What do you guys think? Most of the stuff I have can be shipped in the packaging it's in, although I'd still want to put it in a cardboard box. And shipping anything big is expensive. You know, it's $50 to ship something, so bear that in mind. But that's a thought. I have some of the old Santee spec hydros. Who knows what I've got? Of course, I'm personally attached to all of it, but I just can't have all these boats taking up space, and some of them haven't been run in a decade. So should I keep it? Should I move it on to somebody that will run it? So there's some thoughts while you have coffee with the evil doctor. I'm sure some of you are wondering too about the laser. Yeah, I'm working on it. I really need to have time to just sit down with it for a day and go over the stuff. The problem is I have two computers, one upstairs, one downstairs here. This one drives the computer. I got to run upstairs to get information. It's not a very good arrangement. I need to rethink my life. Like the scene in Star Wars where Obi-Wan Kenobi, is it Obi-Wan or Qui, whatever his name is, Liam Neeson, where he sits down at a bar and some hippie says, "Hey, you want to buy some drugs?" And the guy gives him the force and says, "No, you want to go home and rethink your life." That's what I need to do. I need to rethink my life. Okay, boys and girls, there's been enough rambling. This will be the next thing you see. I am going to paint the American Spirit hydroplane. Now, I've been given this a lot of thought. I could go to some custom shop and have a bitchin' custom paint job that I spend hundreds of dollars on, and it looks a bitchin', and I'd be afraid to throw it in the water. I could spend hours and hours and hours doing the absolute perfect, buy the best materials I can, sit down and do it myself, and then I'd still have the same issue. Or I can just get some rattle cans and do a real good job with some rattle cans and call it good enough. I have vinyl stickers for the livery on the thing, so whatever, it's not going to have a perfectly smooth finish. You're going to feel the vinyl, it'll feel like a piece of tape. Now, I'll shoot clear over it, but you'll still feel it and see it. But that's what I'm thinking I'm going to do. I'm just going to call it good enough, because it's not really a scale hull. It's way off. If you look at the full-size boat to this, you go, oh. One is only a representation of the other. So that's my plan for it. It's just going to get a rattle can job. What I am going to do, since there's only 3 colors on it, red, white, and blue, it'll have a white base, blue in the front, and red stripes. I'll have to mask stuff off, and masking is where you usually run into some problems, especially bleeding under and such. And I recall seeing or hearing somewhere that the way to get around that bleed off is you paint your part, you mask it for the next paint, and before you shoot the next paint, you shoot a little bit of clear right around those tape edges. Just shoot a little clear around there. If the clear bleeds through, no harm, no foul. And then shoot the color on top of there, and you should get a real good line. So I'm going to try that and see what happens. So that's just going to get a regular old rattle can paint job. I wish I had a paint booth, but it's just going to be spread out in the front yard and deal with the dust. I guess what I'll have to do with the dust is let the stuff dry for a long time and hit it with 2000 grit sandpaper before the next coat. And just live with the dust, and then finally shoot it with clear and do the same thing. Let some dust land on it, hit it with 2000, and then buff it with buffing compound. It will be good enough for who it's for. Until next time, boys and girls, jet out.